Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome to some Minecraft musings. Just wanted to make a video before I went off to work this fine morning. Basically highlighting some things. Oh wait, actually, let's heal up our pickaxe. And sure, why not? We have plenty of emeralds we can spend as we need. Let's do some lilies. What is that, a fern? Alright, let's get some ferns. Alright, got it. Alright. Now, sorry, I start off with a little bit of violence on your Monday morning. Um, yeah, I guess what we're working towards eventually. I often ask myself, what am I trying to accomplish with these things? What am I trying to do here? Build a really awesome temple? Well, yeah, that's cool. Build a memorial for all my dead friends and family? Yeah, that's cool too. It needs to happen. Um, but ultimately, let's just run up here real quick and take a gander. Ultimately, what I want to do is centralize basically all education and training and encouragement that you need, or that a person needs to be happy and successful in this life. And unfortunately, right now, all we have is religion and government, because those are the two taboos, the two points where it's like control. Like, where do we have somebody that is not you coming to tell you what you need to be doing? And it's, yeah. On top of that, we have a honeycomb house over there starting, so that's cool. I just realized I still have the clippers, so let's go drop those off and take a look at the honeycomb house while we chat about this. So, in my experience, there's been a few main key points of what you need to live a happy and healthy life: diet, exercise, education, logic, puzzle solving, like all of these things. And then you start to like split hairs and turn them into other things or make new categories out of things. Like, oh, wait, I think I just harvested this before I quit last night, so all of them are pretty much, yeah, not a single one to be harvested. That's okay. We don't need to. Let's just drop off the clippers and go about our time. So what I want to do is I want to move away from religion and politics, because those are just so uncomfortable. And it's because people that come in with half baked information, or sorry, I thought that said 60. Oh, that does say 64. I'll show you what I was talking about. So you can make little honeycomb blocks and then continue to make this honeycomb house. I don't know. We'll just do that. Have like a little like addition. I don't know. But it doesn't have to be perfect. None of this has to be perfect. This is all just me messing around while I think things through and process things. So, and really background noise. I like turning these on in the background and listening and be like, oh, that's a good point, me. Ooh, wait, this could be better, or this could be explained a little better. Continually improving my advice given to people. And I do have a lot of people come seek my advice. I mean, not like a lot, like these influencers that have like tens of thousands of people that can ask them questions randomly. And that's what I think I'd like to eventually get to, but it's exhausting. And then like people, if they find one place to unload some of their problems, they might unload all of their problems, and then it's like, oh gosh, like, okay, calm down now. So, oh wait, we need a lot more of these spruces. I did grow a bunch of trees. Let's take a look at that. Actually, you know what? Let's get some spider eyes. So, oh wait, no, no. Well, first let's look at this. See, yeah, it's all over the place. I did put the map together, so eventually I want to go explore this snowy biome. Hopefully it's massive, but it could end up just being a little bit like that. Same with this one, the Badlands. And then like here, there's that taiga, or that spruce, which basically I think of those as blue spruce. And actually, none of those have grown. I planted a lot over there. Anyways, what we're after is wood for lecterns and books, and might need to go harvest some more leather. We got a couple leathers from the llamas. Because we need, yeah, books, signs, lecterns, all that good stuff. In fact, let's go and just take a bunch of this, just in case. Let's let's see. Oops. Take a stack of spruce. That's plenty of wood. We won't ever need any more than that. Building this stuff, and then book and quill. Let's go ahead and see. We've got a bookshelf. Got a bunch of books and quills. Let's actually, yeah, go ahead and start bringing all these supplies over there. Let's see. We need for paper. Not a whole lot on this side. We'll get over there. We will. So we need paper. We need leather. So we're gonna get the cows. Maybe even sleep through this night, reset that counter, that timer for 3 days, because I don't want to go harvesting spider eyes and then have a phantom attack me. So anyways, and I've got back into something that I really enjoy doing. That's drawing. I used to love drawing. I was in art class as much as I could. Because initially I thought it was like a nice free period where I could just take a break. Like, I mean, you're learning all this stuff, like, you know, world history, like how people act with each other, and all of this, and standardized learning, which has become insanely more encumbersome. Like, the stuff that my kids are learning are way more advanced than what I learned. Or the stuff that my kids are learning, it's a lot more. And that's because we have technology now. We have a lot more things. In fact, we haven't even started utilizing this technology. Like, I need to actually like get in there. There's like there's a parent portal. There's like online things that you can do. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. So maybe even in this video we can hunt some spider eyes. But for now, talking about things like, and painting. I'd like to get into painting, but definitely not any good at it. And I feel like it's a big waste, like all the paints that I would use just to make something, and then I have to throw out whatever like turned dry and all that. And you know, I think I would need to, before I start trying to do something like that, I would definitely want to do some research into how to prevent some of the negatives for that. And really, we do that with all activities. I mean, like, I'm exercising more because I want to get back into like let's see. Okay, we do have that. Let's go ahead and get books, and we have a lot of stuff, so this is starting to come together. We need a lot more books. I mean, unfortunately, yes, we're going to need to go and kill a bunch of cows. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, even like snowboarding. So snowboarding is awesome. It's so much fun. But it's really hard to do. I mean, unless you happen to live in an area that has a ski resort or like a, yeah, skiers. And they just call them ski resorts. That's fine. Everybody knows you can snowboard at a ski resort, except for there used to be a movie, I forget what it was called, but it was like back in the day, it was like skiers versus snowboarders, and like they had to do like this big like race to see who was like king of the mountain or ruler of the mountain. And again, that's a nod to the accidental patriarchy. You don't think about the queen of the mountain, you think the king. You know, so automatically it has to be a guy, even if you didn't intend to say that. Oh yeah, it has to be a guy. Oh wow, they're getting really jumping down here. But I mean, it's just implied that women can't do it. And so, and actually, one of the things that I admired most about my high school sweetheart is she was a strong, powerful, half Jewish woman in a mostly like 99% Christian or Catholic town. It still had some diversity. Like, now that I look back, I'm finding out that a few of my friends were actually Indian, like from India, or Ethiopian, or Somalian, or something. Like, they were not, yeah, like you said, the descendants. And it makes more sense now. Like, their names were very exotic and stuff, but back in the day, we didn't even think about it. We were just like, oh, they're black or something. Or my one friend, I just thought he was Italian or Hispanic or something, because I didn't even fathom that there was someone from India hanging out with me. And he was a great baseball player. Like, he was an athlete. Like, he was dating one of the hottest girls from Salida, like our cross-county rivals. And yeah, it was just, he was thriving. He was doing just fine, and nobody cared. Nobody knew. And I think my first inkling was when I went to that Tech 9 Cottonmouth Kings concert, and I went and did pre-partying with him. I don't think he even made it to the show. He just got really stoned, and like, we were listening to Cottonmouth Kings. We were dancing around, and he had a head wrap. I was like, oh, okay. You know, I didn't care. I didn't think anything of it. I thought, just like now I've got a buddy who wears a pashmina. I think that's pashmina. It's like the hood of the wook, or the hood of the hippie. Like, you know, most likely done some LSD or something, and like wearing this scarf thing. It was pretty cool, but I was confused because it's like, man, I have a hard enough time just trying to find pants to wear in the morning, like, and then have these exotic extra pieces of clothing, like. Whew, that's a lot. Like I don't know how to handle all that. So it's not like uh, it's just funny, but it's not me being insensitive to other cultures. It's just like, whew, that's great, and I applaud you for doing that. But it might take me some time to be able to even think about that. Like that's why I love where I work now, like a study abroad that visits like several countries. I mean, 'cause I get to see that every day that I work. Well, not every day. We actually just ended the spring semester, so now it's time to do all the projects we've been putting off throughout the year. Like, not intentionally. It's just like when you got, when school's in session, you got to focus on what you're doing there. Make sure that the current voyage and the current people. Don't want to say too much too, because a lot of the stuff that I say in these videos could get me in trouble, and it's a shame. It's a shame that people might do that. So, anyways, let's go ahead and yes, more storage. I love storage. Let's see. We have one of these things. So we have a cartography table. Oops. Even though the whole idea of a crafting table is a table so you could put stuff on and stuff, and then I'm actually using the space. There's some rolled up maps. It looks like tucked in, like a drawer. I don't even know. And there's a compass and a map on top of it. Anyways, I get distracted easily. So I guess what I was thinking of is let's make some books. We got a lot of books. We got a lot of books and quills. Really signs. So I guess, oh, lecterns. That's what we're trying to do. So we need to have a bunch of books. Oh, we need wood. Then we can make a bunch of bookshelves. And then we need slabs. And then, ta-da, we can have lecterns. So what we need are lecterns with signs. I saw some signs in there. Yeah, or item frames. Sorry. I mean, there are signs. Wait a minute. No, we need signs. That's right. Item frames are good once we have because like you can put the books on here, you can put the books on the item frames, but really like we've got that. And those are just, that's not even like close to being complete. And then we have clear and transparent voting, so government. And then over here, oh, I got it. So at the start of creativity here, recreation. So recreation. So that's, yeah. What do you do other than work? Like work is good. So recreation, government, religion. Let's talk about work. Uh, a lot of times that overlaps. Like you'll find things while you're working that you like to recreate and do. Like I mean, when you're at a 9 to 5, and especially in food service, there's a lot of times where you're just like off in your own head. Let's see, work. Well, we're getting a little crowded here. Let's go ahead and we might need to extend the mountain out, but at least level the ground so we can have some nice area to work with. What I was thinking with recreation, we can kind of go off and build like a wacky like platform and walkway, like I kind of intend to do with a bunch of my shrines, to my fallen friends and family. Oh, no, we don't need that. I'd much rather keep the dirt so you can build with it. And I was gonna say it's gonna end. Yep, there it is, and then okay. So drawing, teaching, like I don't know, and teaching is a weird thing too because it's not gonna always be perfect. Like you're not gonna have great days every day. In fact, a lot of teachers, like public school teachers, find that out pretty quick. Like a lot of it's just keeping the students engaged or like active. Let's see, we'll make one of these just a dirt box. 'Cause- And then, well, let's see. We got, yeah, this is really government. Clear and transparent voting, like that should be the first thing to any government. And then we'll go ahead and just put, wait, government. There you go. So whether it's capitalism, hypercapitalism, communism. Actually, I was talking with this guy from China that he wants to start learning computer science and VPNs and all that. And I got to be careful because I know China's got their private internet. They're trying to protect their citizens from the outside world, which is ridiculous. What they're really trying to do is they're trying to protect the wealthy families from not being so wealthy. That's why Taiwan's like splitting off. That's why America split off from England. Because as we saw, they're like, well, if you're not from a certain name or crest, or you automatically get a pass if you're from one of these families. But if you're not, then you automatically are probably never going to be happy or wealthy, or like the power was secluded to people that had a proper last name or a family crest or whatever. And that once people realize that, wait, anybody can do this stuff. In fact, a lot of times it's the people that came from the poorer areas that were better at working, better at treating people with respect, like, because they had to. They couldn't get away with, like, half measures, be like, oh, whoops, I didn't hold the door for somebody. Puh, I'm a Montague, or I'm a whatever. Like, trying to think back to Shakespeare and those families. And Shakespeare saying a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet, meaning that it doesn't matter what your last name is. If you're a person, you're a person. And we've simplified that to the Sneetches, where stars upon Mars do not equate superiority. Like if you were born with a star, and that was actually kind of also, I feel like, a nod to World War II, where Jewish people had to wear stars, the Star of David, on their clothes to mark that they were Jewish or targets. And it was a very dangerous and ugly thing to have. Like, you were basically marked for execution or like branded like cattle to the slaughterhouse. Like it was ridiculous. I mean, and we learn about these things, and now we see these things going on right now with Israel and Gaza, like, not to that extent, but they are marking people, or people are already marked, so they have darker brown skin, or they have, fairer white skin. And fairer and darker, like, that seems kind of like, oh, fair-skinned, like, it could just be light-skinned, like, light and dark. I mean, it doesn't have to be, oh, fair, that kind of implies, like, oh, so that's fine, that's happy, that's fair, that's festive, that's... You go to the fair to go have fun. You don't go to the dark to have fun. Although you kind of do, because most of the fun happens at night when people kind of feel like... I feel like that's how we're like cats. Like, I mean, how cats like to get into, like, boxes and vases and stuff to kind of feel secure and surrounded and protected. Like, I think that's what nighttime is for a lot of people. It's like, because it looks like there's a giant dome, or like there's a ceiling or something, like, the sky. Because when it's daytime, you can see, like, clouds and maybe the moon, and, and it just seems so vast and open. But then at night, it seems more protected and private, like, oh, and, like, not as many people are awake, like, so, a lot of people are off sleeping or whatever, and then it's like, okay, like, the parents are gone, the adults are gone, let's go have fun, learn, and explore. And then you got MGMT. That song came on the other day, and I was talking to my kids about it without telling them too much, like, because the MGMT is basically like a rave on a CD, or not even a CD anymore, an album, I guess. And yeah, and like a lot of the themes of their music are like, let's explore like kids, let's go and do these substances and these parties. The Coachellas, like, there's a lot of substances being used there. And it's just people experimenting, being like, oh, well, this one, like Alice in Wonderland. And in fact, when I do my read series, so, well, I'm going to be getting Alice in Wonderland, I think, because that's one of the open free domain books. Like, you can read it on YouTube. And I want to start like a whole project line of videos where just making some fun things and interesting ways to learn English, because it's becoming a necessity. A lot of people need to learn English. And I'd like to figure out a way to learn Arabic, because I was watching, like, one of my buddies, my brother basically, my roommate all through college, well, when I took college seriously, basically, he posted a video that had English translations or English subtitles for this Arabic singer, and it was pretty cool. But I was looking at how they wrote the words and trying to figure out how they communicated these ideas, and it's not as straightforward as, like, this word means this in this language. Oh, okay, so if I want to say this word, I say this word in their language. It's not like that. Like, their language is going to be, like, most likely more complicated and more subtle nuances and stuff. And anyways, back to the projects. So I started drawing again, and like kind of like a graffiti, almost prison art style, but like, I love graffiti. I love this kind of like, it's very simple. It's like cartoony of the streets, and like anybody can come and do it. and like they had public canvases, which unfortunately a lot of times the public canvases were somebody's building and like their wall, they didn't really care for it. But if you found like an abandoned wall in the woods or something, or a place where only people go to escape authority, like to go smoke some bud or something, then you'd often find, in fact, there was a jump rock up in Buena Vista where kids would go and jump in a river. It was super dangerous. I'm surprised more people didn't die or like get hurt, because you only had a narrow window to jump down into the river, and then you get swept away for a little bit. And if it was really cold water, you could lock up and get drowned, or you could drown, or something, or get taken down the river and have a bad time, or you could hit a rock, get knocked unconscious, and then die in the water. Like, it was very dangerous. But there was a lot of graffiti, and like, and it sucked because sometimes people would come there and then they would forget their place. Like, because the biggest thing about Colorado is leave it as you found it, or leave no trace, or leave it better than you found it. Like, if you see trash on the ground, you pick it up. You don't just walk by it like, oh, someone else will do it. Don't rely on other people to do what you can do in that moment. And that's one of the biggest things. And like, to this day, I kick myself because sometimes I don't pick up trash when I see it. I mean, and that's made it to where we've had to have, prison crews go to roadsides and pick up trash because there's people that are just cruising through like, oh, I'll never see this again. This will never come back to bite me, so I'm going to throw this piece of trash down. And that's why Colorado also, and I'm sure a lot of states do this too, but I know in Colorado because I'm here, we have like $1,000 fine for littering. Like if you get busted littering, you're gonna pay for one of those road crews to go out all day, or maybe a week of a road crew to clean up that road, and that's gonna teach you a valuable lesson where you won't litter. Granted, it's kind of like that angry, like bitter, kind of like how I got that stoplight ticket the other day. $75. That was definitely not a fun thing to do, but if that happened to me like 10 years ago, phew, might set fire to the courthouse. Like, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But, because then you're in a bunch of big more trouble. But, like, that's what I felt like doing. I would have. But, like, this one, it's like, yeah, you know what? I can actually see this. So the punishment has to be fair. And the punishment should always be on a sliding scale. Now, granted, I was driving, like, a pretty new car, like I had just bought. So it's like, on first appearances, any law enforcement officer would probably be like, he can afford to pay this. He's got this nice, fancy new car. Although, at the same time, someone else might chime in and be like, but wait, that might be a reason why he couldn't pay it. Because if he's strapped for this new car, and housing prices are ridiculous and the economy and all that, and then at the end of the day, it ends up being like, okay, whatever, just give him the fine. So, and actually, I got to get going. This is going to be a bit shorter of an episode, but so yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, recreation, how to recreate safely and comfortably. Oh, I also have two different types of signs. Clear and transparent voting, which is imperative. The people need to feel heard and feel like they are part of their country. Like otherwise, you might as well go and leave and become a part of another country. And that's why we have such a huge influx of people here to the U.S. Like, if we just did this for every country on the planet, clear and transparent voting, the will of the people. And Elon, love him or hate him, did that with XApp. Like, he did that with the voting things. Like, I mean, although he didn't do that for very long. Like, he let, the vote of the people, and then the people won, or the bots, or whatever. Like, enough people wanted to see change, whereas a bunch of other people didn't want things to change. They were comfortable in their nice little bubble of, I mean, almost oppression in itself. Like, if you say one thing against, and this is as a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat voter, and I'll still continue to vote Democrat because they still make more sense than the Republican values. Like, I mean, yeah, showing more concern for your fellow human, whatever the case may be. If you stray from those lines, you get attacked, like angrily attacked. Like if you dare poke a hole in their perfect, and it's ridiculous. Like I've gotten blocked by a couple of very raging liberals that like, I said, well, hold on here. They have a little bit of a, they make sense here. Like let's hear them out here. It's like no, all or nothing. You get out of here. You're not part of the blue wave. Like, whew. Yeah. So anyways, well, I guess the biggest thing right now is Jared Kushner and that 2 billion. Like, we'll need to address that at some point because when I first heard that, I got really mad at Jared Kushner and the whole Trump crew because I was like, how does Saudi Arabia just give this guy $2 billion? Well, I looked into it and just barely scratching the surface of it. It wasn't to Jared. It was $2 billion of documented money that the Saudi government gave to the United States government to increase relations with Jewish and Muslim countries. Oh, jeez. So, anyways, that's what it was supposed to be. So, okay, well, if that's the case, I want to see what was done with that money. And so, for the golf course thing and like all that, like, how are they facilitating peace and inclusion with all these people that we used to be so at war with? I mean, throughout the centuries. How are we changing those things? So rather than get mad at Jared Kushner for taking 2 billion and building a Malibu dream house, get mad at him for how did he spend that money and is it working? So we need to look at the data, look at the results, take a survey of like, and maybe ask the Arab people, be like, hey, do you feel more included in American ways? I know we're already doing our part with like study abroad, and the roommates I had in college were great for mixing cultures, and I know that's still going on. So like, it's happening on the ground level with the poor people. And my roommates were just as poor as me. Like they barely made it over here, and they're like, "Well, phew, I don't have money for this," or like, we still wanted to go out and party and stuff. And it's like, okay, do we eat or do we drink tonight? Like that was basically what had happened a lot. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. Eventually, we're gonna make a new series here coming up. I know some of them are just me staring off, zoning off, and having a good time recreating and forgetting that I'm on camera. And I apologize for those, but I like to think that these are entertaining in their own way, sparking creativity and thought and allowing people to go do their own musings. And eventually we're going to have basically a library of Alexandria, a library of A-Rye, just sitting out here on the field. Haven't even used the inside of the building. I like it out here more. It's more peaceful. So anyways, ta-ta. I will see you in the next one.